Aidan Clune had grown up in Sonoma, California. His mother, Amy Clune, was there for him. But unfortunately, his father was not in the picture as much. Becoming a teenager, he was growing up to be a fine young man. And just like many, when we were his age, had flaws and fears of what's next. But in 2021, he had just graduated and now had his whole life ahead of him. But sadly, with a recent death in the family, someone Aiden was close to, Aiden felt like he needed a new start, new scenery. This led him to leaving Sonoma on a last-second whim and traveling to Salt Lake City, Utah. Unknown to his mother and family, Aiden was beginning to suffer from some kind of mental health issues. It's unclear what exactly was going on, but upon arriving in Salt Lake City, Utah, to stay with his grandparents, he began to show signs of paranoia and more. After a conversation with his grandfather, Aiden was not being rational and sped off in his truck, now heading west on I-80. This highway led to northeastern Nevada. Aiden would stop there, staying the night at this Motel 6 in the town of Wells. On April 27, 2022, Aidan Clune woke up early and checked out. With the highway close by, he took his truck south on Highway 93, traveling approximately 52 miles into a town called Curry. Aiden abruptly pulled his truck over, unknown as to why he did so, perhaps to take a bathroom break or to clear his mind. Taking his acoustic guitar with him, Aiden likely had not wandered far from the road, leaving his passenger door wide open, meaning he had likely had every intention of returning back to his truck. At approximately 9 a.m., a highway patrol officer saw the red Nissan truck and pulled behind it. It looked abandoned. It's unclear where Aiden was at the time, but it's quite possible that Aidan Clune could have been close by. But because of his recent mental health issues and recent signs of paranoia, Aiden may have saw the trooper with their lights on and may have thought he was in trouble and perceived the trooper as a threat, and the only way to safety was to travel into the vast Nevada desert. Aiden would never return back to his truck that day, nor did he make any contact with anyone. For Amy Clune, this is when the true nightmare of a mother looking for her son began, knowing something was off, but sadly a day behind on Aiden's recent travels. Since Aidan Clune was in another state, his mother had a tough time retracing his last steps. It wasn't until the following day Aidan Clune was declared missing. Search and rescue would be disbanded the following days into the vast desert valley of Curry, Nevada. They would soon find Aiden's tracks leading from where the truck was parked, leading away into the vast desert. Not far from his truck, search and rescue found his acoustic guitar laying in the desert sand. Along with the guitar, more footprints were discovered. They led over what is known as the Palomino Ridge. Aiden was wearing Nike Air Force shoes that had a unique peanut shape and circular shapes on the tread. This was helpful to track, as these were not the average type of footwear one would normally wear in an environment like this. They would track Aiden over the Palomino Ridge into a wide valley. Beyond this valley was the Cherry Creek mountain range, full of brush, heavily wooded areas, unforgiving ridges and peaks. As they continued following his tracks, they noticed some were odd and different to others. They realized that he would take off his shoes and either go barefoot or leave his socks on and walk for a bit, as his tracks changed due to this factor. Furthermore, his tracks would come to a T shape, meaning he'd walk a while, then stop, go left for a bit, then double back on his tracks, which meant it's likely Aiden was trying to throw off anyone who would track him. Even though search and rescue were days behind Aiden, it shows the mental state and possible paranoia Aiden could have been experiencing as he traveled deeper into the unknown and unforgiving mountain range. Search and rescue would eventually track Aiden into this valley south of what is called the burn area. They would lose his tracks after a while, or the weather would get too bad to track, and so they would get more and more behind as days passed on. but eventually they would pick up Aiden's tracks again and followed them into this particular valley that had a creek with fresh water that flows down the mountain into the valley for the livestock. Search and rescue found many tracks wandering all around this valley, some where Aiden was wearing shoes and others where he was barefoot. They would eventually find some tracks leading from the valley west up a steep ridge. From here, they found the last tracks, almost like he was circling a tree, just as signs of Aiden's tracks were plentiful and his presence known. It's as if the vast mountain range of Cherry Creek swallowed them up without cause. Aiden now became a ghost, uprooted from the earth, and now the only signs he was ever there was a few photos taken by search and rescue of his tracks.
All right, welcome everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me make sure. It's been a while since I've been live. Let me move that down. So yeah, we're gonna go out one more time this week to search for Aidan Clune. We'll talk about some of the details and what we're focused on. We believe we're so close. I know I keep saying that, but there's only just a few of us that are searching right now, and there's just a lot of ground to cover with the few people we have. It's just going to take a while, but we do believe if he is out there, we are close, and we just got to cross off certain areas, and slowly but surely, if he is out in the area we believe in that he could be in, we could be close. But I wanted to give some examples of why never to quit in a situation like this, even though I'll be honest, right now I am mentally and physically drained, just because going out there, it takes a lot, but I do appreciate everybody's support. I know this story is not a big story, and of course, another story that I cover is Riley Strain, and I always look every day to see, because I know that they were going to release the toxicology report and the autopsy, and I swear I looked that up earlier today and there was nothing, and then literally 10 minutes before I go live, here it is, toxicology report released. So we'll switch to this real quick and then we'll go back to Aiden, but if you haven't heard, they did release the toxicology report. From what they say, and I just checked this video out before I went live. It says no signs of drugs or trauma. Now, this is just the toxicology report. We still don't know the autopsy. I would love to know what the autopsy says, because, did he fall down on his head? Did he flip over? That was a pretty big drop that was in front of him where his card was found. Or did he have no injuries, which meant, was he dragged down there by somebody, or was he lured down there, or did he go down there and then something, or is this just a sad case of somebody that just got too intoxicated and sadly ended up in the river? Thank you to everybody. Fly Girl, what does Amy think about all of this, Chris? I try to talk to Amy, not every day, but I speak to her almost weekly. I literally just spoke to her a few hours ago. And yeah, I always tell her everything that we're doing. Because that's really important when it comes to searching for the missing, is, speaking with the family. And also you can get feedback and their insight as well. And it just kind of helps with everything. But yeah, on Riley Strand, which we'll talk about for a second, we'll go back to Aiden. But yeah, I thought that was crazy. So they said the toxicology is out, but the autopsy, I don't know, maybe come tomorrow or
the case
sometime this week. But we'll just play part of this real quick here.
Nick Barris has the latest. It was more than 2 months ago that Riley Strain was last seen along this stretch of Gay Street, just above the Cumberland River. He disappeared, and now finally we have a better idea of what exactly happened to him. We know that the 22-year-old University of Missouri student's body was found in the Cumberland River 2 weeks later.
My company works on the river. I have just found a dead body. I believe it to be Riley.
At the time, Metro Police Chief John Drake said preliminary indications were that it was a horrible accident. But there were some odd circumstances. Strain's wallet was missing and his bank card found along the bank. His body was recovered without pants or...
Yeah, that's a great question, D. Yeah, I when I saw that, yeah, because it's in this headline, no signs of drugs or trauma. Yeah, that's a great
boots.
question.
So questions remained about the cause of death and whether there was foul play. The autopsy was to provide answers, but to date, it still has not officially been released.
So they got the toxicology, and obviously, I think the family's had this for since May 10th, and they were, which was actually around Mother's Day, and I remember that they were going to release it, and then the family got lawyered up. And so that was why it's been postponed until now. But yeah.
A lot of times when an autopsy report takes a little while to be released, it makes individuals somewhat suspect that maybe there's a criminal investigation.
News Channel 5 has learned toxicology is now back to go along with the completed autopsy, and all indications are what happened was an accidental death. A drowning. No evidence of trauma or that Strain had been drugged, and no sign he was victim of a crime.
This was a horrible tragedy, but that there is no criminal wrongdoing.
Our understanding is the medical...
So it says no signs of drugs. So obviously that was a big thing. So yeah, I'd be curious to know what his alcohol level was.
Examiner did just receive some new information and is finalizing the official autopsy report, expected to be public very soon. No surprises are expected, though the case can always be reopened if there are any signs of foul play that emerge.
There's nothing to stop the district attorney's office in the future if there's new evidence that comes to light.
When the full autopsy report is completed, it will be sent likely next week to the district attorney.
This guy's got his mic like super wired up and like screaming into it. I apologize. I'm turning that down when he speaks, but then turn it back up.
No investigation is expected. Nick Barris, News Channel 5.
All right. With all that information, as we're waiting for the final autopsy results to be revealed, what might they show? Let's bring in our guests, three people who followed this case since it began. Retired FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffin-Deffer is still with us. Want to welcome in law enforcement expert Sonny Slaughter.
So I'm going to do a video and then probably cover this live if it does get released, because obviously we've covered this case, and this is a case that's been close to us as well. Let's see if there's anything else in here. I don't think it talks about the levels. I'll have to see if I can get the report. If anybody knows, maybe at the end of the show, we'll see if we can look at the report. Does it say what his alcohol level was? Because I don't think they
and retired criminal defense attorney Kirk Nurmi. Great to see you all. Sonny, would you start us off, please? Your thoughts on what, if anything, shocking this autopsy may show?
Good morning, Julie, and my amazing co-guests who have been following this with all of us and the people. Oh, this case was really disturbing, his disappearance, and I am still wondering if they are going to find some drugs in the system. Maybe he was drugged or something that led to this unfortunate accident is what they are calling it right now. I still have concerns about his disappearance, but I want to see what the rest of the autopsy report shows.
They got the toxicology. Why is she talking about drugs?
And if there's anything that could have been in his system that wasn't revealed the first time that we need to still look at.
Appreciate it, Sonny. Jennifer
Is this like a secondary toxicology that they're talking? I'm missing something here. But anyway, I want to get too off track. But we are going to, I'll probably do like a short video, like with the updates with Riley Strain. And then when they do the autopsy, because that's what I've been waiting for. I literally check almost daily. Every time I open up Google, it's like one of my searches, because I always search because I know that they were going to release it. And then just go figure. I checked earlier today and there's nothing, and then now they're talking about it. But So anyway, if you're just coming in, as far as Riley Strain, they say toxicology clean for drugs. They don't mention the alcohol level. Be curious to see what the actual report says. So I'll probably do a video if I can get a hold of the actual report. So quickly, before we get moving on, back to Aiden real quick. I just want to mention, thanks to Tom, missing Jennifer Keaton. Let me pull this up here. Oh, go away. This is Jennifer Keaton, 34 years old, from Venice Beach, California. Last seen May 30th. She's been missing, 11 days now. She has where is it? Driving a 2018 metallic wilderness green Subaru Outback. I love Subaru. That was my first car. With Oregon plates, 576 PCC. She's a mother of 2. Missing for several days, 11 now. Last seen at Venice Beach in Los Angeles, California. If you have any information, you call St. Helens PD at 503-397-3333. Just 34 years old, Jennifer Keaton, missing out of Los Angeles, California, near Venice Beach. Keep an eye on that case as well. Let me get to chat here. Isabel, thanks, Chris, for your dedication. Hope this contributes to your refreshments, at least on your journey. Stay blessed, and hello all. Thank you so much, Isabella. That means the world. It truly, truly helps. And I'm going to bring up some points why we should never quit searching for the missing, and how many times there's situations where they go out searching for the missing. Sadly, they don't find them. There's a bunch of searches that are conducted, and then another group comes out, or a hiker or a jogger comes out years later or whatever, months later, and stumbles across them. And a lot of times they're found not far from where they went missing. And so I'm just going to show a couple of recent cases that have just, where remains were found, where the missing person, they had been missing, and the remains have been found, and not far from where they went missing. And so I'll go over a couple of those, and just to show you guys, we really believe we're so close with Aiden. Tom, thank you so much. I hope everyone is having a great day. Praying y'all find Aiden if he is out there. Thank you for all you do, Chris. Thank you so much, Tom. And to Dom and anybody that sent PayPal, if you did, just put it in the chat so I can shout you out. Sometimes I don't get alerted right away. But before we get back to Aiden, I just wanted to give a couple examples. So we reported on missing Kaylana Turner. And this was actually another one that I think Tom had sent me. She went missing out of Texas, Tomball, Texas. And I think she went missing last year. Yeah, so she went missing back in March 10th. So it's just been over a year she had been missing. And of course, there was a lot of searches conducted on her behalf. And then, let me find it here. This is wild, too. See if I can pull up that video.
Of where this presidential race is on this.
Oh, no, that's live. Anyway, let me find where that. There it is. Okay. So in 2023, Kaylana was last seen in Tomball after police said she fell asleep in someone's driveway. So yeah, I forget all the exact details, cover so many cases, but she had fell asleep in somebody's driveway in her car. I don't know if it was the house that called the deputies out or what, but deputies arrived. They knocked on her window to wake her up, and I think she kind of like freaked out or something. This was also another case similar to Aiden's in a way where the family said that she was suffering from mental health crisis. So she drove off, crashed into a wooded area nearby, and was never seen again, or at least since of last year. And of course, they conducted many searches. And then recently, they went back out there, and this was part of Texas EquiSearch. Such an amazing group of people. And here's what they said. She was actually found right around 900 feet where figuring from where her car was last seen. So 900 feet from where she was last seen. I mean, that isn't nothing. Just to show. And apparently she was her body was kind of in a dense brush area where unfortunately you could easily just walk past her. And that's probably what happened with the original searches, is I'm sure they were right on top of her but just didn't realize it. But there's a case 900 feet from her last location, and they found her. And so there's just one example. And then another case that I know you guys are probably familiar that we've covered is Gwen Brunel, who we were actually going out to search for, which was it was in May. And we were going out there, and then we learned, literally, thank you to Karen and I think Copper Horse, who emailed me early or late in the evening about them finding Gwen Brunel. But this is another case where they had searched for her many times. Her vehicle was abandoned, and I'm just going to pull up Google Earth real quick here, guys. I thought I had Google Earth up. Google Earth just poop out on me? I think it did. Interesting. Okay, well that sucks. Anyway, so her socks and boots and socks were found 1.5 miles away from her vehicle. And they conducted many searches. They found her t-shirt not far from the boots and socks. And if you guys remember, we showed what her boots and socks looked like. It was really strange. Even though it was June, it still did kind of dip to the lower temps, and it did kind of rain. So I kind of theorized it's possible hypothermia, or maybe she just didn't have food or water and could have just died from exposure. Not really sure. So then a group, just a private organization, probably small like mine, a guy, John Jones, went out there. Oh, here's Google Earth. Weird. And here is hers. And so here's the area. Pull this up real quick, guys. And this green circle is a 1.5, or no, this is a 2-mile radius. And this was her car. They found her shirt, and then later on they found her socks and boots. And unfortunately, they didn't find anything else. And this purple circle is a 1-mile radius that I had put out because this is what I was gonna drone, and we had another guy that was gonna kind of hike. And if I saw anything, then, kind of send him in that direction. But we were gonna basically cover this 1-mile radius. And this is exactly where her remains were found. Approximately, I think, 0.6 miles from her socks and boots. So that was within the 1-mile radius. So another case where remains were found not far from kind of the last known clues. So just another example of why you just don't give up. And not every case is the same, but we cover like missing 411 and stuff like that. A lot of times it's so odd that people go missing, and the ones that are found, there's so many searches conducted, and then they don't find anything, and then just either another group comes out months, years later, or just some random hiker comes along and discovers the remains, and they're not far from, where they were last spotted. I broke it, but it came back just in time too. Deborah Chase, Suzanne Morphew was found during a search for the missing Edna Quintana. Oh, I forgot about that's right. Yeah, so it just goes to show, never give up. Oh, Gretchen Fleming, is that what you want me to feature, Gretchen? Is that what you're saying? Godspeed. I'm writing the name down right now. Let me know, and I would be more than happy to, of course. Regarding Riley Strain, private toxicology looks up more stuff. Interesting. Yeah, I will do a video on that. Like I said, just go figure. I always look for updates on Riley Strain because we've covered him so much, and then I didn't see anything, and then now there's updates. Like I said, I can't imagine not knowing where my loved one is. Like they vanished without a trace. Yeah. So anyway, back to Aiden real quick and just kind of give you the updates on where we're at and why. Oh, there was one more thing. Oh, the report on. Oh, did I miss that? Oh, okay. So this is also part of Gwen's disappearance and the private entity that went out to search for John Jones. And just to brush up on their story, and then we'll go back to Aiden. But this is how they found her. So he went out there with the drone, just like I was planning on to. And so that's kind of his story. So anyway, so they went out. I think they went out in April. But they took a bunch of photos, which I take video, but I can turn all my video into screenshots, so it's just the same thing. But what they ended up doing is they conducted a bunch of flights, just like we had planned on going to do. Downloading 13,000 images took 10 hours. So, and I feel for him because that's how I feel with Aidan Clune. I've got so many of these little memory cards just full of drone footage. I've shown you guys just how much. We've got hours and miles of footage for Aiden. So the Jones group then took those into the folders and organized them. And so he had a few people helping him. And so it says a reviewer opens one photo, zooming in. We're looking at every single pixel. We're looking for everything that looks out of place. That could be a distinct coloring or odd shape or clothing. A reviewer would spend up to 45 minutes on each photo. They took 13,000 photos. One reviewer went through files for a time on Sunday, April 7th, before taking a break. She then sat down on her couch, worn down from reviewing and deciding to shut down her work after looking at just a few more. What a crazy story this is. She scanned one, nothing. So she's been searching these photos, 45 minutes each photo, pretty much done for the day. She keeps telling herself just one more. She scans one, nothing. She opened a second one. Something caught her eye. She looked more intently. That's when she texted John Jones, the guy that's kind of ran this. And they examined the photo. And finally, that led to notifying, I think, the authorities. And they went out there, and it was Gwen Brunel's remains. So, pretty amazing story when it comes to Gwen Brunel. And hopefully, if Aiden is out there, maybe we could also do that. So, has anyone searched the 1 mile radius of Aiden? So we'll talk about that, Tom. That's what we'll get into right now, and we'll talk about everything that we've done, where we think he's at, and in the scenario if he's out there. Let me back up and go into here. So actually, let me pull up this folder real quick here. Here we go. And let me pull up Google Earth for reference here. So just let me get everything. situated here. 1 second. Let me just fill in the blanks here and show you guys just a few things. So this is the area that we believe, if he's out there, there's a lot of leads. We've kind of talked about this in the last few lives. This area will just kind of get you familiar. Let me just show some of his truck and plug all these in. So these are exact coordinates of the footprints. And so kind of Aiden pulled over his truck. Now, I was kind of reading some old Facebook posts. One lady, a local, she has a husband who works for NDOT, which is Department of Transportation. Apparently, he was driving this Highway 93 back and forth and believed that he did see Aiden kind of wandering just beyond the fence line. So when he had pulled over, there's kind of a fence line not far from the truck. If you see my footage, you know what I'm talking about, and I'll show you. But, you know, because there are ranchers and stuff, and they do have their herd out in this area. But when they went to search for him, they picked up his tracks, and even they found his guitar, and they kind of searched for him. So this day after he went missing, they found quite a bit of tracks that kind of went over the Palomino Ridge. And then I think they picked up the last one somewhere as it went into the valley that separates the ridge and Cherry Creek Mountain Range. And I don't know if it was just because the day was getting later or the weather, but it seems that after this footprint here, it seems they kind of either lost his tracks for a bit, or, you know, weather, something. Then they picked him up the next day. Unfortunately, they didn't really document as much, but it seems they kind of tracked him up over this. And then I think either the day was getting later or weather, because I know it was kind of a mix of both. And then I think the 30th, they didn't search because of weather. And then they picked up on May 1st, started picking up some tracks again. And then May 2nd was when they really just found apparently a lot of different tracks. And it was so weird because he had some were with his shoes and some where he was barefoot. It was really strange. And yes, being out there, a lot of people, and it could be maybe his socks. I'm not sure. Maybe barefoot just means he just didn't have his shoes and he had his socks. Or he could have been barefoot. Poor kid. But then the final tracks was this one where he looked like he was kind of almost circling a tree. And then from there, they just kind of, they dried up and couldn't find anything. And so we've been searching in this area. There's a lot of different clues that we've discovered that all lead into this area. Let me get to chat for a second, but I'm going to pull this up and talk about something that I think we mentioned in the last slide. But this is an actual piece of the document that's in the FOIA report. Hey, June. I miss you, Chris. Happy 9 months. That's awesome. Thank you so much, June, for your continued support. Sweet dreams. Another amazing supporter. Never give up. Thank you, Chris. We won't. And thank you so much for the memberships. Yeah, I had to get a haircut. It's getting warm out there. Thank you so much, June, for the $1.99. Yeah, so there was some reports that in here. I'll pull it up right here. This was something I found that I want to show you guys, and then we'll get into the leads and the grid that Amy sent me today. Where is I'm not in the right thing? That's why. So this was something I found kind of interesting, although it doesn't help it just adds more context to the more kind of the beginning. But this is from Courtney. As you can see here, it says her husband works for NDOT, Department of Transportation. It says this vehicle was pulled off the road in a popular pull-off spot. Our husband drove past a couple of times that morning. He said he and his crew saw someone there with a vehicle matching Aiden's description, but that he wasn't in distress, never flagged for help, just wandering back and forth from the vehicle to the fence line. And the fence line is not far. I'd say 30 yards, 30 yards from the road, somewhere in there. The last time my husband seen the person, they were packing a black jacket or blanket under an arm, walking into the trees just through the fence. Next time he went by just before quitting time, the sheriff's office and many personnel were already looking. So seems they'd seen him early on, and then law enforcement or a trooper had pulled over, obviously checking things out, probably not understanding the full situation, what was going on. Sometimes vehicles get abandoned or they break down, and so sometimes what they do is highway patrol will see a car that's on the side of the highway, interstate. They'll mark it if they don't see the driver, and then they wait 24 hours and they come back, and if the vehicle's still there, then they tow it. So that's kind of what happened in that case. Chris, are you walking on dirt or sand? Yeah, dirt would probably be a better than sand. Yeah, dirt. Yeah, because it's not sand. Well, it is kind of more sandy in the area where he left his truck, but when you get further in, I would say it's more dirt. It starts to get more rockier. The terrain changes, but yeah, I would say the sand. It's a little more sandy out in the open areas, but when you kind of get more deeper in, it is more like dirt, and it's kind of hard to imagine him out there barefoot. There is areas. I mean, there's even areas with grass out there because we know there's a creek out there. So let's talk about. So this thing, I know it's kind of hard to see, but the most important thing is this shows areas. Now, again, just for example of why I was talking about those other cases why I never give up is, as you can see here, here's the circle. There's some of his tracks. I know it's probably hard to see, but it says barefoot, barefoot, barefoot. These dots, apparently some of his tracks. So it looks like they kind of got this as ground zero. Then they have these areas, area N, area O right here. It's kind of hard to read. I apologize. And then area L. I'll kind of show you what that looks like here. The one. This one. Yeah, there it is. Looking for. So this area are the three areas. And this was kind of like ground zero. So kind of think this area here is where a lot of barefoot prints or footprints, either way, were kind of plentiful. And then again, you kind of got his last footprints. And then you add in that cell phone, which it's so weird because you can go up onto this peak at over 8,000 feet and you don't get a signal. And he had Verizon, I have Verizon, the other people that go out with us have Verizon. So we can kind of test the signals. And we know that we have this 5-mile window between 60 miles and 65. And even though this is a giant area, you can really kind of discount a lot of it because you just don't get a signal. I mean, there's just sparse areas where you do, but what's interesting is there's one area, and this is the only area, there could be others, but this is the only area that I know of where you can get a decent phone ping for a good while, and that is right here. It almost lines up due south of the tower, of where the tower is at. And we kind of tested this as well as we kind of walked, and it's almost like you can keep a signal in this, and this is just kind of approximate. This is not perfect, but so our theory is if that 817 ping, which is the last phone ping they got, and if it was in this area, it would all kind of line up, and that would mean now, again, it would be getting late. Temperatures are dropping rapidly. I mean, it was snowing when they were searching. Some of the reasons why they couldn't search on certain days was because of the rain or snow. You're at a higher elevation. You guys have kind of seen and heard this. I know we've kind of talked about this. But the other thing is the cadaver dog search, which took place in these 3 areas. They had searched in these 3 coordinates. But the thing is they couldn't, since they didn't have enough people for the search, they couldn't just do a regular grid search, unfortunately. And so you got something, and I apologize, it's probably hard to see, but the only grid search you can really see is right here south of the burn. But if you look here, and I know it's not the best quality because it's just a photo of a photo, but you can see that each color represents one of the searchers. So one may be the handler, one may just be a person searching. And as you can see, there's so many open areas that they didn't search, and it's not their fault. They just didn't have enough help. So again, it's awesome that there's people out there to help, but unfortunately, they just didn't have enough people, and so they just, I don't know if they kind of followed certain possible tracks, or they followed what would be called little washes that run through, through this valley here. The only really grid search, and a grid search would be like this, as you can see here. So, for example, a grid search should be something like this, and then I'll get to chat here. A grid search should be something like this, where you see this, but tighter formation. So that's what you should see typically, when somebody's out searching and you've got the manpower, is you'll see something like this, or just straight lines where you have like 3 people close by and they, close out a section. But unfortunately, that's not the case. And the only area, that they did that in was right here. The rest more look like this. And, you had your other searcher kind of cut in through here, and another searcher. And, and I think they were doing that just so they could try to pick up his tracks again. But unfortunately, it seems like they just kind of disappeared, which is really odd. But that's kind of what you look at when you look at this graphic, even though this is not the best. But this is why we think there's just so many clues that lead us to this area, and that just like with the case of Kay Alana Turner, case with Gwen Brunel, and so many more, where there were such searches conducted, and they were right there, but unfortunately either just didn't have the manpower, overlooked something, and they were there. It just, unfortunately, he was sadly overlooked. So I'm going to get to chat. I'm going to play this video, which is some stuff, and I'll get to chat.
Aidan Clune.
But just some footage. Yeah. But again, I just want to say thank you to everybody that's donated or just took the time to watch the show. Really, because I know Aidan Clune's not a big case, so his name doesn't get out there as much as others. So it means the world for you guys to help out. Pam Argosy on the replay with Riley. My opinion, I think after he talked with the officer, he jumped, not knowing the water was there. Ooh. Yeah. When you're tall, not getting off track with Riley's case, he's what? At least 6'4" or 5, something like that. I'm tall, I'm 6'3". I don't drink anymore. I haven't had a sip in, I don't know, 2 decades, it feels like. But I was never a drinker. But a few times I remember getting a little too wasted. When you're tall, your center of gravity is way off, and when Riley, had fell into that pole, I could relate because I think that's happened to me. Not running into a pole, but just kind of trying to get my momentum, and being tall and drunk, and center of gravity not being with you, it starts just to take you for a ride. Jackie B, I think you're the only one channels covering this case. I wish more people would talk about this. Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, there's just so many people missing, and it's nobody's fault. It's just there's just so many cases, and just only certain ones make it to the spotlight. It's just how it works. Yeah, it is difficult terrain, as you can see here. This is on the peak where we wanted to check to see if he could have gone over west. We don't. I mean, it's always possible he could have gone over this, but I really don't think so. It was, when you're looking at it from the valley, it doesn't look that steep. But when you start climbing it, you're like, wow, this is like very deceiving, and it is very steep. And as a matter of fact, when I was coming back down, if it wasn't for Gail Hurd and her walking sticks that she provided, I probably would have tumbled down 100 feet down the hill. I landed on my knees, which sucks. I thought I almost sprained my knee, but yeah, it just certain areas. I'm like, man, how do we get up this? So that just kind of excludes going west. And then as far as further south, can't really see it in the paperwork, but they really searched. So I'm just pulled this up here. They did quite a bit of searching in this area, which means he still could be this way, but there was no other signs of him this way. And to me, I think he would have tried to double back from here. But again, I guess it just kind of depends on what time. But again, just going off a theory, if he was out here at 8:17 p.m., I think right at that point, you're kind of now in survival mode, because in late April, it's getting dark, starting to get dark, and the temperatures are dropping. And I don't know how long it took him to get back in this valley, but I'm sure he would have been probably exhausted. And yeah, it's just tough to think about. Thank you, Wildflower. Thank you so much for the support. Good to see you, Miranda. Good to see you, Mr. Beer, BG. So we plan on going out possibly Thursday. Trying to get some more just information from the FOIA report. All the people that are out there, just kind of putting all the information together, just to kind of give us the best estimate of where to look. I mean, we pretty much have the area where we want to look. So this valley, this is probably a good shot. So this is the valley. Let's see if it doesn't go a little bit more. See if I can get it. Okay, yeah, this is a good shot right here. So there's the burn area right there. That's a perfect shot. And those trees that he was circling were almost kind of like right. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me minimize the screen for a little bit. There we go. So just give you an idea. The trees, you can't really see them, but it would have been kind of like right here. So not at the bottom, but like maybe a quarter way up the ridge here. I'd say we're about like 75% of the way up right here, or maybe 80%. This is where the spring is. So it's possible he did find water, which is good because there is an aquifer, there is a fresh water source. So that would be a good thing for him if he was able to find that, because he had to been. I mean, he was walking all over that area, so I don't think it's a coincidence that he was walking in the one area that has fresh water. So I would say that's one good sign that he still chance he could have made it out, because he could have at least, we can go weeks without food, but we need water. But this is the area, and let me pull this up. So we're looking at this. I don't know. So we're sitting up right here. So I'm kind of, that's the worst one to use. Right one here. So we were standing right here looking out this way here. I'll zoom that in. Now you can't tell from this angle, but this is the peak right here. So the peak is kind of running along right here. The burn is right, the edge of the burn is right here. Obviously we're looking at it upside down from this view here. But let me take a screenshot of it. Show you guys what we got. Let me just save this real quick. And that's weird. Go away. Can you guys hear me okay? That's weird. My computer froze up. But anyway, there's the burn area. And his tracks kind of went up and over this mountain ridge here. And then he was kind of tracked, and then almost kind of, we were kind of down further. Kind of went up this ridge a little bit and then circled, and then they lost him. And these areas that they were looking in with the cadaver dog. Now, this is what I need to get a hold of a cadaver dog or a handler just to kind of get an idea of what it means for the terminology that they used in the report. It could mean nothing, or it could mean a lot, but where is it? But in the report, it says we were able to sufficiently cover holes and search areas N and O/L, which I just showed you guys. That is, get rid of all my doodles here. So L is here. So this is L. This is O. And this is N. So she said she covered quite a bit of area in this, but we can see from her tracks that unfortunately she couldn't just grid search this entire area. That's a lot to cover for one person and a dog. She does have people that flank her, which is kind of interesting. But it says probability of detection was medium to high. Now again, I'm not a handler, so I don't know what that means. Does that mean that the dog was hinting at something, but they just, in her area, they didn't find anything? Or is this mean something else? To me, it could be very significant. And that says with lower probability as Oscar got tired and did not range. So was it that her dog was picking up something, but unfortunately Oscar got tired and did not range? Probability of detection, medium. So the question is, is this a pretty significant piece of the puzzle? And it means that they were close, just unfortunately, they just didn't have the manpower and the weather got bad and they just didn't continue searching? Or is this medium to high, not as relevant as we think, but again, those areas are the areas I just showed, and then with the phone ping and last footprints, again, just like the other cases, everything points to this valley. And we have searched, and now we have begin to search literally by grid. Before, we would kind of take random areas, and then of course I would search by drone. Let's stop real quick. But now what we're doing is we are literally grid searching, and we're using tape that's biodegradable, and we just lay just almost every other tree. I just tie a little bit of this bright yellow tape. It's not really tape, but that's what they call it. And place it on just about every other tree. Because even though you have a heading, because of the trees, or obviously it's not straight, and you kind of get knocked off your line that you're going in, this helps us to know, when we go so far, say a quarter mile, half a mile, then when we double back, we're not going over the same area. We move over a little bit, and we continue back to the beginning, and then do the same thing, move over another 15, 20 feet, and then do the same thing. And so we've been doing that. That's what we did the last time we were out there. We covered quite a bit of ground for just 3 people. And doing this technique really helps. I think in some search and rescues, they use like rope. They'll take a thin piece of rope and run it along, and they do like grid search through the rope. But I feel like we just need a ton of rope with that, and feel like this way is the best way I can think of, at least for now. So, anyway, if you guys have any questions about that, I'll go through them now. I'll be on for a little bit. And then I know there's bigger cases. Riley strain we'll cover maybe tomorrow. I'll do a video on the toxicology, see if I can find the report. I'll probably do a short video. Linda Timmons, sorry. Hope he is found soon. I do too. We've been searching for 2 years, and it's not just me. There's other people have been searching. Elko went out there searching. It's teamwork. But right now it is just us going out there. Hopefully more. If we don't find them, we'll go out. But yeah.
Yeah, we might have gone as far as
Mr. Beer, I can see that. Yeah, cold tire hungry, double back. Yeah, that's what I would think. I mean, if he's in there that late, I mean, I would think you because for those that don't know that area, if he goes further south, further west, further south just takes you in deeper into the mountain range, which is eventually it leads to civilization, but you've got a lot of terrain to go up and down. Same with west, that'll take you out into an open valley, but then you're in between Cherry Creek and then Ruby Valley, and that's just kind of a wide open area. So I would think you would probably double back to what you know. Any chance he made it through the mountains and into the town north of the mountains? I mean, there's always a possibility of him making it out. And for the family, I really hope so, but there's just been no signs. I think the cell phone is a big clue, because you would think, he would keep his cell phone on him. If he made it out, he would charge his phone again. His phone never, his final ping was on April 27th at 8:17 p.m. Never to be used again. No message, nothing. So now he could have lost his phone in there, and then maybe went into hiding. It's certainly possible. Yeah, I might have to. Yeah, Chris Dingham. Yeah, I like Chris Dingham. He's for someone who speaks out with the family. Yeah, he's really nice. Gil, be careful out there. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you, Gil, and thank you for all the gifts. As you can see, you're walking stick, hard at work. I can't really use the hats when I'm searching through the trees because it gets snagged on everything. And the holes, I'm afraid the ticks will crawl through. But when I'm droning, I have my that Swiss hat you gave me. It's so nice. Did he have a gun or access to one? No. He didn't have more than his shirt, pants, socks. I think phone. As far as like accessories, I think phone is the only thing. He, the sad thing is I don't think he was really planning on running off. I don't think he was planning on, some people think maybe he was going off to take his life. I don't think that was the case. I think this was a really tragic case where he was just kind of obviously going through some mental health issues, which we couldn't really ever maybe really fully understand. But he pulled his truck over maybe to catch his breath, maybe to go to the bathroom, and think about his next, what he was going to do next. And then sadly, you have a trooper pulling up and him panicking, thinking, oh, he's in trouble because of something. And so he runs off. And then maybe with the mental health issues that escalated even more, because I was just talking to his mom. I'm like, I wonder why he just didn't like hang out up on the ridge where he could overlook the trooper and just wait and see what happened. And then, and wait for them to leave and then go back to his truck. But unfortunately, he never did that. And he left his passenger door wide open. So, again, it's not the trooper's fault, but I think it just, unfortunately, the trooper just scared him. And that just caused him to panic, full panic mode. Which it's really sad. Anyway, so yeah, if you guys have any other questions, like I said, we're gonna go back out Thursday. For the members and patrons, again, thank you guys so much for the support. I'm trying to get some drone footage out. I kind of got sidetracked with speaking with the family and doing some side projects, so I need to get the drone footage out, but I cannot tell you guys how important this drone footage that I'm uploading to the members and patrons is going to be, because the area that I flew the drone over, so just a couple more things. The area that I flew the drone over, give me 1 second here. So we believe, in a nutshell, that this is the target location. And just like in the other cases and examples we just showed, where, a lot of those people were found close to the area that they were searching, we believe this is the area that he could be in. And now we have searched a decent portion of this through grid searching, so not just kind of wandering, because again, unfortunately, this is kind of what they did. It wasn't grid searching. Again, it's not their fault. This is not blaming them. They just didn't have the manpower. So you have all these huge gaps. This is yards and yards that were overlooked. And really, I think they were just trying to pick up his tracks because they were plentiful, and then they just disappeared. So I think they were trying to get his tracks again, but nothing. But with the cadaver dog picking something up. The report also saying birds circling. So that was the other thing I forgot to mention. Is in this report at the top. You can't see that very well, but as you can see, it says birds circling. So we know that it's possible that that could mean remains. That doesn't mean human. It could mean animal. But remain or bird circling is another little clue. And so this is kind of our target area, and I would say we've covered about a quarter of it. And we're going to continue what we did last time. And we're going to get out there earlier. I had to put a new battery in the car. It costs a lot of money each trip to go out there, unfortunately. But I think if he is out there, this is the valley. I mean, everything screams in this location. And it's just so many clues that, not a lot, but the clues that we have point his last known whereabouts are somewhere in here, and we just got to keep digging. Oh, I missed it, Miranda. Or did I answer it and I just got to it? Oh, yeah, okay, that was the one. Did he make it north? It's always possible, but it would be going north. You'd have a lot to travel. I think you would have to get back to the road. The biggest thing is if you didn't have any, rations, water, stuff like that, it gets cold again, He would really have to make it out there that night. I don't think he could survive the night. It's just, it gets too cold.
Oh, I see it. You walked right past mine. Right there.
Yeah, I don't think so, but it's always possible. And I really hope that something good did happen and he made it out.
Oh. Then that might be yours. Oh, okay.
I think it's an unplanned sign. Those areas spell out no. Oh, yeah. I think that's just... I got too many folders up. Yeah, it does spell out no. But that is the areas that they were out there. And again, just one more time, that's their tracks. I know this photo's not the best, but there's just so many areas that we just need to cover that they unfortunately just didn't have the manpower to search. And that's all that is. And yep, and we're just going to continue grid searching it like that. Anything we found, of course, you probably saw that we came across bones. There's a lot of bones out there. There's a lot of cattle. So there's, and usually the bones, I'm 99.9% sure that the bones we found are animal. If we find bones, we always search around. Usually you find bone piles, and there's usually a sign that they're animal. Especially when you've been out there enough, you kind of get used to seeing the same kind of bones. There have been a few that are mixed in with the animal that are most likely the animals that look possibly human. So I have taken those just in case and documented where those were at. But, and then eventually we're just going to turn those into the sheriff. But again, I think those bones that we have found are animal, sadly. I would love to search with you guys sometime. Avid hiker, avid Colorado hiker. Oh yeah, so you got the Rocky Mountains just like us. Best of luck. Yeah, yeah, we could use the manpower. The grid search what we have left would be nice to have more help because It doesn't look big, but that's a big area. I mean, that's what is that? So that's about a half mile. I know that's almost about 3/4 of a mile. So it's a big area, but I'd say we've knocked out about 1/4 of it, but we still got a lot more to do. And unfortunately, it's getting a little hotter out there. But again, it just goes back to that with the Gwen Brunel, you can't give up. And with some of these recent cases where they found the remains, they were so close to the last possible signs that they left behind. And so that's why we don't want to give up, because we could just be right on top of him. I could have most likely... I've flown the drone. I mean, I wish I could label all the areas I've flown my drone. I've probably covered... in this valley, I would say easily I have covered probably 40 to 50% of this huge area. Easily. 40 to 50%. And would not be surprised if he was found out there that I flew the drone over him. That's why, for the members of Patreons, looking over that drone footage is important, because there could be something I missed. And going back to Gwen Brunel, where they had help with 13,000 images, and the poor lady was almost done for the day looking at photos, and she's like, just one more, and then it just comes across something that looks odd, and they finally found her. So hopefully that's the way. Lisa RN with the $50 donation. Thank you so much, Lisa. That is so sweet. You guys are so amazing. God, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Lisa. So anyway, we'll do an update with Riley Strain, because I've been keeping an eye on that case, and it drives me nuts that overlooked that. But autopsy coming soon. I think the autopsy is going to be very interesting in that case, because I'd like to know, what injuries did he have? Because did he fall where the credit card was found? That was like a 30 to 50 foot drop. So I would expect, depending on where he landed, either it was on his head. I mean, usually when you flip over something, your body naturally just tumbles. So I would be surprised if he has something like some scratches on his back, or maybe a few broken bones, I would think, from 30, 50 feet. But who knows? But it'll be interesting to know if he had some kind of injuries on his body, because I would think a fall like that, even drunk, you would have some kind of injuries. So we'll be back live Wednesday. I'll have a video, unless they do autopsy. We may do a live. If they release tomorrow, I'll do a live. If not, I'll do a video on the toxicology. Live Wednesday, and then we're going out Thursdays when we're planning to go out there. And this will probably be, unless there's something big we find or find him, probably be the last one this month, just to regroup, because it costs so much to go out there. But yeah. So, Richardson family, good to see you. Thank you so much for the $20 super sticker. You are so awesome. Thank you so much. Strange the door of his truck left open if he walks a far way. So yeah, that's why I played the first part, or showed you that one where that lady was talking about her husband driving by, perhaps before the trooper arrived. So it's possible he was, and that's why the passenger door was open. Maybe he was kind of not far and just pacing, deciding what he was going to do next. And then maybe saw the trooper and then freaked out, and that was the catalyst, sadly. Miranda, oh, you think he might have peed and went in? I could see that. Yeah. Yeah. With Riley Strain, of course, is what she's talking about. That's certainly possible. Thank you, Mob Crew. So grateful you're stating on this. I'm not moving on. Many things. Yeah. Yeah. When it comes to Aidan Clune, because you just look at all these cases, recent cases that, you know, I don't want to keep repeating myself, but with these recent cases being solved, I feel like Aiden's could be the next. So, never give up. Camp Valley, good to see you. Thank you so much for the $10 super sticker. You are so awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, he took his guitar, but left it, which is weird. And maybe that might have been where he saw the officer. Maybe that shows the signs of what Aiden was in, where he just maybe he was out there, you know, just because he loved playing guitar. Maybe he was out there playing his guitar, clearing his head. Officer shows up, he panics, ditches the guitar, and dips. So, oh, chocolate. I'm sorry, I missed yours. I saw that earlier. Lisa, thanks. Appreciate your work, Chris. Thank you so much, chocolate, and thank you so much for the membership as well. So, looking at everything here. Huge shout out to my wonderful mods. Thank you guys so much for your time and effort. If by chance you sent a PayPal or Venmo and I didn't shout you out, please just let me know in the comments, or get me the next live so I can shout you out. Yeah, Mary Wild. I know many musicians, guitar players would never leave their guitar. I know my best buddy. God, yeah, he would never leave his guitar either. I think that shows probably his mental state. That's how much he was freaked out by the officer. But that's a great thing to point out. Really great thing to point out. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna end it there because I think I got my computer froze up and I don't want to touch anything because I'll break the live show. So, all right, guys, we'll be back Wednesday. And then I'll have some update videos on Riley Strain. And then if by chance mods, if there is an autopsy released tomorrow, then I'll probably do it live. So with that, I love you guys. Have a wonderful week. Thank you guys so much for the support. Wallflower, again, thank you so much for the $20 super sticker. You guys are amazing. I would not be able to do this without you guys. So thank you so much. And if he's out there, hopefully we'll find him. All right, I love you guys. We'll go ahead and play an outro.